Hi, I'm Jezebel, firstcomicsnews.com and Geek-a-Pedia Live on Podcast Detroit. And I am here with Hafiz Karmali.
Hey,
Is that how I pronounce it?
Very nice, Jez of Jezebel.
Thank you.
Hafiz Karmali.
Karmali, okay.
It's a Persian name, you know. I was named after this great Persian poet, Iranian poet Hafiz,
Okay.
who used to write love poetry, ghazals.
Okay.
So
So you were just naturally...
No, my grandfather saw my long fingers,
Okay.
and the story goes, when I was born, that when he saw my long fingers, he thought that this child will become an artist. So he named me after this great poet, Hafiz.
And you did become an artist.
God knows, yeah, somehow. Things worked out like that, right?
You were destined.
Well, yeah, I feel that like that. And then I was born on a day, July 11th.
Okay.
July 11th was a very special day in our faith. That's the day when the Ismaili Muslim spiritual leader was appointed as the leader. So I was born on his anniversary day. So every year on July 11th, millions of Muslims celebrate my birthday. It's like being born on Christmas.
I like that.
Now, one more thing about my hat.
Okay.
You know, we were talking a second ago before the camera came on, right? That I needed my hat
Yes.
because I can't think without it.
Okay.
So there's this thing where if you want to shut me up, you just got to remove my hat. It comes from a special scene that I love from Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot.
Okay.
There's a character, you know, there's two characters, Didi and Gogo, who are these tramps, these beggars. And there's a character called Pozzo, who's a master, and Lucky, who is a kind of servant. And he goes off on a tirade, a monologue.
Okay.
And he just starts speaking non-stop without stopping, right? And the only way they can stop him is take off his hat and stamp it, and then he loses his power.
Okay.
There you go.
Kind of like Samson loses his power when he loses his hair.
Exactly.
Okay. So we were in the TV room in here at the hostel, and
not to be confused with the hostel. The hostel.
Hostel. Did I say it? What are you?
No.
Oh, you're fucking with me now.
I'm just teasing. We'll edit that part.
There's no editing here.
No, we're gonna come. Okay, all right, fine. This is like fine. This is like carpool karaoke. Sorry. Okay, anyway.
So we were talking, and I was doing a little bit of reading earlier, and we kind of started chitty-chatting, and you looked me up, and then you were like, Google me.
Well, no. It wasn't done that way. No, I was just being just as curious. It was just nice to exchange our Google bios.
Yeah,
right?
I was totally being pretentious though. I'm awesome.
No, but I was very impressed by your bio, and so in this day and age when no, my God, you've done great stuff. I love the fact that you're a reporter, journalist, blogger for comics. First Comics. Yeah. And that you're a prolific blogger, right? And that you have this Wikipedia-style podcast.
Yeah.
Which is called Geek-a-Pedia.
Yeah.
And so that prompted me to say, hey, I'm the world's biggest geek in theater.
Which you are. You're a theater geek.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier, and your passion for what you were talking about really kind of inspired me, I guess, impressed me.
Yeah.
So you are, this is you actually right here.
HafizKarmali.com.
Yeah, this is you. And you were kind of showing me some of I kind of was looking at your, there's a contemporary, that's where your pictures are. Like this is some of your stuff. This is...
If you click on that, it becomes a slideshow. Yeah.
This is gorgeous.
Thank you. This is a production I directed.
These are...
In London, which a production called Ali to Karim. It then toured across the United States. It was a kind of commemoration of the Aga Khan and his history. The Aga Khan is a spiritual leader. This is a play which we developed in London and toured across the States.
Okay.
This is a scene which began just as a letter in French, and then with these actors, really brilliant English actors, we devised a scene, kind of improv, with French skirts and the sort of effete gossiping scene like a French salon, right? And so what I love to do is work with actors. This is the kind of the part of life which is the most exciting, when I'm in rehearsal with actors.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you like live. You like live
as
stuff.
opposed to film work. But then we were saying that some of my work, this is a play that's set in a library, and then I was trying to tell you that some of the work I've done includes projections. Now you see here, what we were talking about was how there's sort of 3 or 4 levels of reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a play which takes place in the library, so there are the real books. There is projections of books, and then there's animated flames as the library is being destroyed. And then in the forefront, you've got this Iranian narrator speaking in Farsi. And this scene depicts a moment, horrible moment in Islamic history when the Mongols invaded Iraq and Iran and destroyed all the artifacts and libraries. And sadly, that's what we're seeing today, right? With ISIS. ISIS destroying artifacts in Iraq and Syria. So that led me to tell you about how when I first learned from my high school drama teacher about the link between religion and drama, or that the Western theater, right? The origins of Western theater are all rooted in Greek devotional expression. That there was this Greek chorus of singers singing in praise of the Greek god Dionysus, the god of wine, right? For the orgies, the bacchanalia, right? When I learned that the first actor that stood out of that chorus was called Thespius, which led to the naming of actors thespians, and that the root of all the vocabulary we use in drama, whether it's theater or film or your realm, which is comic book stuff, right? All of it goes back to the Greek civilization. When I learned that there was a connection between Greek devotional expression and drama, that's when there was a kind of, in French they call it a déclic, which means things kind of clicked with me. That's when I found my calling in life, which is sort of like drama as being a religious expression or a devotional expression. Yeah. So my plays tend to be nowadays, apart from the classical Western theater, Shakespeare, Molière, Chekhov, Western theater. Apart from that, Beckett was more nihilistic. Apart from that, I tend to be attracted to works that are devotional. For example, fables from mystical literature, Sufi tales, Conference of the Birds, or Attar, or Rumi, the great poet. And so here I am in California trying to reproduce one of my productions of Rumi, the mystical poet.
Which you just did in San Francisco.
Yes, it's the kind of show that I come back to often. A company in San Francisco, Golden Thread Productions, had sponsored the show a few years ago, and I had done it before in Pakistan and elsewhere in workshop form. So I tend to return to certain productions because, when you go back to a script a few years later, you see more, in a classical script especially, you see more meaning, deeper levels of meaning the older you get, right? So it's like when somebody, a conductor, am I going too fast or too slowly? Is this all right?
This is perfect.
I'm talking too much?
No.
Okay, you can remove my hat any second.
No.
You shut me up.
I'm totally digging this.
It's like a great conductor. You wanted Geek-a-Pedia,
yeah,
right?
You are geeking the fuck out right now. I'm loving it.
No, I haven't had a good geek fest for a long time. We, based on your use of the word fuck, I think
you read my article, so you saw how much I like the word
is like fuck. No, but this is kind of like what I call a mind fuck, right?
Okay.
So I haven't had a good mind fuck for a while, right? So no, what I was trying to say was like when you talk to great composers, great conductors, theater directors are like musical conductors, okay? So for example, Leonard Bernstein or Sergio Ozawa or these great conductors, they would always go back and reconduct a piece in the repertoire, like the Beethoven's Ninth. They wouldn't do it just once, right? Throughout their life, James Levine would always go back to Wagner or whoever it might be, okay? They would always go back to some composition and certain composers because they would be able to find deeper meaning in it. So for me, I've directed, for example, Conference of the Birds by Attar at least 3 times. Rumi in a circus style with acrobats and clowns at least a few times, okay? So now I'm trying to bring it to Los Angeles. And I've heard a rumor, and it's true now, that Hollywood is making a movie about Rumi's life.
Okay.
So I follow the signs, and I think
Sure.
I think the world needs to hear more about Rumi
Okay.
and progressive Islamic thought.
Sure.
None of this awful obscurantismo. It's
Yes.
this dark ages, Muslims equal terrorists, all that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that's what my calling is.
Now, you have a master's in theater, right?
Yeah, Masters of Fine Arts.
Fine Arts.
I got my MFA, Master of Fine Arts in Theater Directing from Carnegie Mellon University.
Okay.
Then I got very lucky to work at the American Repertoire Theater, which is at Harvard, right?
Okay.
So I was there for
Wow.
4 years. This is all to say, not nowadays everybody does their own advertising on Facebook, right? I'm not advertising. I'm just
We're
saying.
not.
What I was trying to say is that there's a kind of tradition. If you look in Europe, especially France, Germany, Great Britain, there's deep respect for the art of the theater, and people study it formally, right? Whereas it seems like in some places in North America, actors feel like they can just walk on stage and become stars, or there's this fame culture, right?
Sure.
Especially in Hollywood,
You want to
right?
grow up and be famous.
Yeah,
That's
as opposed to dedicating yourself to a great craft and an art,
Sure.
right? So that's what I was trying to say, that I trained several years in all aspects of theater production, including the theoretical stuff, history, literature, aesthetics, all of that.
That is very, very impressive. And we're going to be out of time here shortly.
Now, the second sequence is when the tables will be turned.
Okay. That's a part two.
Part two is going to be when I've done my homework and I interview you about jazz and jazz rights and about your comic world, which I find fascinating. It's like a whole new universe that I need to learn about.
Okay. Well, see, like, I'm one of those people that you were just talking about. I did not really know much about comic books. I started reading comic books about 5 years ago. However, I have a huge understanding for the English language, and also because there's a difference between speaking English and
Right.
sentence structure.
Yes, sure.
And the English language is very complicated. And I know the English language very well, and I'm a good writer. And so I just applied my knowledge of doing book reviews, essentially, to the comic world.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of, and so I'm still a baby. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years. I didn't really know much about interviews, and I just started doing them. And the more that I do them, this is my style. I like this. I like
Absolutely.
this candid.
Yeah, sure.
No, neither one of us were prepared. We just
Right.
kind of talked and bullshitted, and we just talked for 13 minutes. So
Fabulous.
thank you very much for your
Thank
time,
you.
sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jazz.
And see you.
Ciao.